What up, my magnetites? So it's been another long time since I've done a video. Like I said in the last one, been working a lot. Obviously, I don't have the editing capabilities to be on the same level as a lot of the other Mega 10 YouTubers that are gaining popularity. But I mean, really, this is more like a podcast. I mean, you might as well just be like a Spencer Presley kind of podcast. Can't even figure out, except my editing's so bad, I can't even figure out how to get a picture up for an overlay. So maybe one day I'll figure that out and be able to take it from there. But anyway, I actually wanted to make this video in response to Tony4you's really honest video about soul hackers. I have to say, I'm excited for Soul Hackers 2. I think it's going to be a very good game. I'm excited to play it. I really want to know as soon as it comes out, I will definitely be playing it. But sorry about that. But as soon as it comes out, I will be playing it. But I have to say, I have played the first game on 3DS quite a bit. I've started and stopped it a few different times. I've really only gotten to, I think it's the museum. And then at that point, I've just kind of lost interest. You know, it's a fun game, and I like anything. I don't mind the gameplay of the older SMT games. I enjoy it. Obviously, I prefer turn-based or the alignment system. I forget what that's exactly called, even though I've said it a million times from Strange Journey. Over just the limited 6-party battle system. Though I do enjoy the 6, the 5 demons, 4 to 5 demons as opposed to just UN 3 demons like in the newer SMT games. But that being said, I have to say that Tony4you is actually really spot on with the criticisms. This game is dripping in style. The music is awesome. But the loyalty system, for one, is kind of dumb. I respect it in what it's trying to preface, that like you gotta basically be a certain, you gotta gain a bond with the demon over time. I mean, it makes sense to me. However, the part that doesn't make sense is how you still it can still disobey after you guys are like homies, basically. I mean, that part's a little bit stupid. You would think, if anything, maybe over time it would, you could lose that level and maybe have to regain it back to 5, and that would make a little more sense. But yeah, I don't know. He hit it on the head with saying that, like, the fact that you could be at an end game boss and it could just decide not to heal you just because is a little bit stupid. A bad creative decision, I think. And on top of that, the battle system's a bit of a slog, but that's to be expected. I'm not gonna knock it for the battle system, because if I were to knock that one for the battle system, I'd be knocking all the older games, and I really don't find it that bad. So I can't say that. But what I can say is this: the story, at least from what I've been able to get to, is a little bit, I don't know, not that interesting, to say the least. It definitely doesn't give me any kind of like this is awesome kind of vibes. Like, it's fun, and it seems like almost like I'm playing like a Scooby-Doo mystery adventure, but it never really takes off in a way that I've seen so far, and from what I've read, that seems that interesting. I'm not a fan of the going into past rhinos, basically. I forget what they're called, but the past guys who work as detectives, like, I'm not really a fan of that. The dream missions, I think it's kind of unnecessary. It leads to downtime with a team that you're never going to use. You got to you put all this time and energy into getting those demons up and going, and then you never use them again, and I don't know, it kind of doesn't have relevance in the grand scheme of things. So it's kind of a waste of time. That being said, music is fun for the most part. I don't love the battle theme, but it's entertaining. And in general, the style of the game is awesome. The concepts are pretty good. I just don't know that the execution was really that fantastic. Now, that being said, I still would have preferred that Soul Hackers 2 be a little bit more in line or a little bit more similar to Soul Hackers 1, as far as, like, this feels like a completely disconnected game. I'm a little bit lost on where the Soul Hackers part of the game is, but I guess I'll find that out once I'm playing the story and getting into it a bit more. Maybe there'll be more to it. I'm not a big fan of and I can't really tell yet, but it feels like it's the people doing the actions as opposed to the demons, which I'm not a huge fan of either. But I could be misreading that. I have to look at more trailers and stuff like that, and more battle gameplay stuff. The whole Ringo thing is an interesting turn. I mean, I do like that it's still in the AI kind of futuristic stuff angle, but it does not really feel that much like a sequel. And I know I'm not the first genius to say that here, but it feels a little bit different than a sequel, almost like a sub-series. That being said, you know, it could also have been a sequel that has nothing to do. I mean, SMT 2 had very little to do with 1, so I guess you could look at it that way as far as story goes. So, I mean, I guess there is that concept. I don't know. I'm excited for the game, but I you know, after SMT 5, I don't know if I could feel that excited. You know, I'm an SMT guy, number 1, so it's kind of like anything that isn't the main line is a little bit less interesting to me, as opposed to something from a spin-off. Now, that's not to say that the spin-offs that Atlas has had, some of the spin-offs Atlas have made has been unreal. I mean, Devil Survivor 1 and 2 are fantastic games. Most of you haven't played Majin Tensei 1 and 2, and though they're a little slow-paced, I find them the incredible strategy, tactical RPGs. Though, I also have a soft spot for tactical RPGs, and most people probably don't, so take that with a grain of salt. That being said, then there's also, I find the Ride-O games to be really fun, too. Completely different than my style, more hack and slashy in a way, but it's like the right kind of hack and slash. It's like hack and slash mixed with demon control RPG. It's got more RPG in it than people really give it credit for. It's kind of like it's like what Energizer should have been, if you guys have ever played that. Energizer, I forget. It's the game where basically you have Cloud and a bunch of other characters from Squaresoft, and they all fight each other, but there's like RPG elements. This is much deeper on the RPG side. So Ride-O games, totally for. I don't know. I guess the whole point is that, like, you know, I held Soul Hackers up higher, I think more from a nostalgia and like well, it's an old SMT game, I love it kind of factor. And when I listened to Tony4you's video, and it's not like he persuaded me, but it really did make me go back and think about the game a little bit. And, you know, the criticism started to rise. It's kind of like when I've listened to pretty much any video from Simply Dad. Afterwards, I have to, like, do some reflection on, wait, was the game as good as I thought it was? But usually with Simply Dad's videos, it's a little bit more like, yeah, it is. He's just being a little too critical on certain things. But Tony4you, he gives a really good breakdown on things. I don't feel, you know, like he cherry-picked anything or was doing anything with, like, the intentional. Very different than a Simply Dad negative video. So I hope he's not getting too much shit for this video. But I definitely can see where he's coming from. I thought Soul Hackers, I wouldn't have said it was, I wouldn't have rated it as low as he did. However, However, I could definitely see where he's coming from, and it's definitely not in my top list for any kind of Megaten game. You know, it's definitely more toward the bottom end for me. And for a long time, I thought maybe I was the only person that felt that way until this video, because I remember playing it and feeling disappointed. Like, I preferred all the Personas to it, 1 through 5. I preferred the Devil Survivor games, the Rhino games. Even I preferred the Digital Devil Saga games. And it's weird because the game is not that different than mainline SMT, but it's just the creative decisions they made from a battle, with the loyalty system, and also with the story concepts. It's much more lighthearted, kind of fun Scooby-Doo adventure, which isn't always bad, but it definitely didn't have the same weight as the SMT games, and that includes If. It's just affecting the school, but it still feels pretty serious, you know what I mean? So, just one of those things in my opinion. But anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there. I was kind of inspired to make this after watching his video, just for those of you who maybe wanted like a second opinion. I thought I'd voice it out there. But anyway, I appreciate you all tuning in. Overall, this will be turning into a podcast, I think, as opposed to it's going to be a mixture of things, but we're definitely going to have a podcast sub-series on here soon. Anyway, this is Jay with the Douchebag Brigade, and I'm out, my Magnetites.